Well, when it was less democratized as it is now, the people who were coming through either were coming through and creating stuff because they already had some level of resources,
Hmm.
or this is all they focused on. So
Hmm.
right now I'm reading a book by Jonas Mekas. Jonas Mekas was an experimental filmmaker who came over to the United States during World War II. His family was killed, and he became one of the founders of the Anthology Film Archives, which is a film museum here in the city.
Hmm.
In a non-COVID era, you would be able to just take your film there and screen it through their new filmmakers series. Like, it's a very accessible place, and it's designed to be because it was founded by an outsider.
Hmm.
And he, based on what I've read in his book, he had to focus all his energies on figuring out how to buy his first Bolex 16 millimeter camera. He talks about his brother and himself put down like a several $100 deposit. I think it was like $300 or $400, and then they had to wait like a month to raise money to buy the rest of it. And then once they took the camera home, this dude was so committed to mastering filmmaking that his diary entries are just full of, I shot X amount of feet today, and it was this and this. You just go around the city, kind of like what I do. I just go around the city and I film. He's like, all right, I saw X amount of feet on this day. Here's what happened, and this happened at this time, at this frame, and like, I mean, he documented everything he shot, and I just think that's so cool, and it's so committed. And when it's less democratized and harder to access, that's the kinds of people you get.
Sure. Yeah.
At the same time, we live in an era where pretty much anything goes. So you could have a whole channel of people reacting to things with their computer laptops facing them, and that counts as art in certain circles. But then you also have, a few years ago, there was a Sundance winner who shot his whole movie on an iPhone. It was the first mainstream movie to be shot on an iPhone entirely. I don't know if you saw that movie. It was called Tangerine.
I'm not sure. I saw one which was shot on a phone, which was about some. I think it was like some kind of someone escaping from a mental asylum or something. But I don't think it was the first one to be shot.
No, this was like the first to like really get mainstream notoriety
Hmm.
because it won Sundance. It's called Tangerine, and the guy went
I'll
on to
check
make
that
a
out.
movie called The Florida Project. Actually, this
Right.
is a great story. Is he shot his movie on an iPhone, won Sundance, found backers for his next one. He's like, all right, let's shoot film, and so he shot The Florida Project on film, and it looks beautiful, but it's still clearly his movie, his
His
aesthetic. It's just a
style, and
different
everything.
medium.
And I love stories like that because you kind of it really it because I feel like there's this trap, and obviously it's because everything is so consumer driven in today's world, where it's kind of like, oh, if you buy this camera, then you'll be able to make a good film, or if you buy this, laptop or this sound desk, you'll be able to make good music. And I feel like because everyone, it's so easy to escape into the gear, which obviously there's like you can geek out and there's like a fun element to that, and especially if you have a budget and you kind of have learned you know what you're doing with it, then obviously that can be such a great thing to do. But there's this level I feel where people are starting out, and you almost feel paralyzed because you look around and you think, oh, I'm going to need this camera to make a good movie. I'm going to need this lighting. And it's kind of like as we're talking about going out of just a camcorder and filming. I feel like so many people think, oh, how. I mean, I've been trying to get more and more into acting, and I've been talking to people and saying, oh, I just need something for my reel, something for my reel, and I'm thinking obviously it helps to have like established projects and acting reels, but I'm thinking there's you can just get someone to hold a phone and just come up with a scene, and that's the beautiful thing about having access to all this stuff. You can just position the window right so you've got some good lighting on you, and it's crazy that we live in a time where literally you can just get up and make something and
Yeah,
a world where that can happen, where someone can just make a movie on their iPhone and then it can win at a film festival. I think it's just such a it just says what's possible.
absolutely, absolutely. And man, you had me thinking about something else. I forget what it was. Oh, that was the perfect like thing I wanted to. Oh yes, so you'd mentioned the phrase, and this is a phrase I threw around a lot when I was young and I was naive and waiting for the right camera. waiting
Yeah.
for the big format so that I'm taken seriously, or whatever the excuse is. My advice to filmmakers who are listening, because obviously I'm going to throw in tags so that filmmakers find this podcast episode.
Sure.
Don't wait to make your movie. Just make your fucking movie.
Yeah.
And the reason is I waited way too long, and all these great scripts that I can make now, I'm no longer interested in. I wish I had just shot that stuff on mini DV or something.
Because it's kind of like you can never fail, really, if you think about it. Because either it turns out how you want and you get a complete project, or you learn so much from it. Like, we had a shoot where I planned it out. Me and my brother had written this script. We're like, okay, it was like, and I used to mix sound for live gigs in this pub, and we sort of, the guy who ran it said, okay, you can stay overnight and like shoot, and we were like, this is a dream come true. So we go to this pub and we spend, I think it was like into the early hours of the morning filming, and then the guys I was shooting with just said, the lights in shot, like the acting isn't feeling right, let's just quit. And I just wanted to say, let's continue, but I realized that even if that film never saw the light of day and never got finished, what we'd learned on that shoot was so much more valuable than having a filmed kind of show off. And that's the thing, I feel like with any art, with music or that, in the moment it's like, oh, it's such a failure, like I wanted to make this project, it didn't make it out. But you think, but you get so much that then can transfer to the next project, that it's like you never lose with it, really.
Yeah, and that's part of the whole lifelong learning approach that I've adopted later than I should have. When I went back to school in my mid-30s, which wasn't that long ago, it was in 2015, I instantly just I learned that phrase, lifelong learning, and kind of instantly applied it. Like, everything is taken seriously, and everything is directed to be, if not a product, then at least something towards my being as a creator. So it will be out there. But the most important thing, of course, is to learn something to get me to the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing.